Hello, good evening, everybody. My name is Rainer. This is Rainierbooks. I'm a German booktuber living in Stockholm, Sweden, and I'm talking about books that are written in English or translated into English. So today I'm here with another wrap-up of another week that lies behind us. Time flies by and the year is slowly coming to an end. I'm talking about books that I've read, about things that have happened in Stockholm, about a new project, and about what I want to read during the next week. So let's get started. The pictures you just saw were filmed today in Hammarby Sjöstad here in Stockholm in an area that is more, I wouldn't say posh, but it's an area where people live who can pay higher rents than the average people here in Stockholm. It's not a rich area, but it's sort of the upper bourgeoisie that is living there. And the candles you saw were placed there because of the killing of a 19-year-old rapper who was killed here last Wednesday night in Hammarby Sjöstad. He was shot down around 10 p.m. He was in hiding because there were several death threats against him. He has emerged on the scene of rap and hip-hop in Sweden 3 years ago when he's made a song called Katten I trakten, the cat in the area, the cat in the hood. And he has done a lot of gangster rapping. He had connections to a lot of real bad people, criminals. He himself had several trials against him, and on Wednesday he was killed. And I didn't film around the candles because there were a lot of people standing there, about 30, 40 people standing there and mourning or paying their respect to him. Lots of very young boys, actually like 8, 9, 10, 11-year-old boys with their daddies coming to that place. And I saw also a lot of teenager girls in the age of 12, 14 who might have admired him. The rapper Einar was his name. The case is unsolved. I just want to show you that because it's really something that has happened in recent years in Sweden and in Stockholm, especially now this year again, that we have a lot of shootings. We have more shootings than any other country in Europe right now. And this year, 42 people have been killed in these shootings in Sweden, and we had 240 shootings. That's the number that I've read this week. And it goes on and on and on. I mean, 1.5 weeks ago, someone was killed 450 meters from my apartment. And now this guy here in Hammarby Sjöstad. And now I come to a project which is associated with that, but not actually inspired by that, because I know that many of you around the world read or like Scandinavian noir, Scandinavian thrillers, Scandinavian crime novels. And I want to deal a little bit with Scandinavian crime novels in the future and to present you some of the authors that are currently writing or that have been a very historic in the back catalog, so to speak, meaning for Scandinavian crime literature. And today, when I talk about gang violence, I talk about Jens Lapidus. He is a lawyer, but now a very successful crime writer. He has written a trilogy called where one of the first book was called Snabba Cash, which is translated actually into English as Easy Money. And there's also a TV series, a TV show on Netflix, which is based upon the book, but which tells a different story. So Jens Lapidus is one of the few actually Swedish crime writers who deals with this new kind of organized crime that we have had over the last 20, 25 years. In Snabba Cash, Easy Money, it is a bunch of people circling around the very sort of in nightclubs around the Stureplan in the middle of Stockholm, where both the beautiful and also the gangsters are traveling on Friday and Saturday night, especially to have fun. I wanted to inform you about this is happening in our country, it's happening in my city, and there are also books about that. One of them is Jens Lapidus. His newest novel was not translated into English, but it came in spring of 2021. It's called Paradise City, plays in the suburbs of Järva, of Tensta and Rinkeby, where most of the gang violence happens, probably in the northwest of Stockholm. And it plays in the future. Paradise City plays in a time, maybe 10, 15 years from now, when the government has solved the problem by creating special areas by law. The novel actually starts with a quotation of a law, for a law about special areas, where they have sort of cordoned off special areas like Rinkeby and Tensta, and people are not allowed to go out there and to go in there, to keep the violence where it comes from, and to have this parallel society fenced with a wall from the rest of the country. I finished 2 books this week. One I can talk about, the other one I can't talk about. The one I can talk about is The Woman in the Purple Skirt by The one I can talk about is The Woman in the Purple Skirt by Natsuko Imamura. As you can hear, it's a Japanese author. And Natsuko Imamura has won, for this novel actually, she has won the very prestigious Akutagawa Award in Japan in 2019. The Akutagawa Award is like the National Book Award in the United States, or like the Booker in the UK if the Booker was only for the UK. It's the most, or the Deutsche Buchpreis in Frankfurt. So this book is about a woman in a purple skirt, but it is told to us by another woman, a woman in the woman in the yellow cardigan. And it's a strange story. Like so often from Japan, we read strange stories, I think, where you sometimes are reminded of fairy tales or magical realism or whatever. But it's a real story about a woman who's obsessed. The woman in the yellow cardigan is obsessed with the woman in the purple skirt. And the woman in the purple skirt, she always sits on a park bench in the park every weekend, and children are coming to her, flocking around her, teasing her, and finally talking to her. And the woman in the yellow cardigan she's absolutely surveying everything, literally everything that the woman in the purple skirt is doing. So she's the narrator of the book, and then the woman in the purple skirt gets a job at a hotel as a maid, and of course the woman in the yellow cardigan also gets the job in the hotel as a maid, and to be able to survey the life of the woman in the purple skirt also in the future. And this is then it turns much to be about the working life of this woman, and about single women in Japan, single women in their 20s or in their mid-20s or late 20s, which is actually not an age where you should be going unmarried in Japan. The Woman in the Purple Skirt is basically, I think, a novel about the working life, about the situation of single women in Japan. It's also the novel about an obsession that this woman has with another woman, and it has there's a love story, an illegal love story, because the woman in the purple skirt is having a love affair with the director of the hotel, and then it turns ugly. And it is a very interesting book about the situation of women in Japan. The second book that I finished last week, I'm not allowed to talk about, but I'm allowed to show you the title, because I'm reading this with Srnti from Sandreeds. This is Winter in Sokcho by Elisa Shua du Sapin, and I'm showing it this way because you can see the amazingly beautiful cover of this book, which is a postcard of Sokcho, which is, and I also like the typography of the book, and the font is so beautiful. Everything is so beautiful about this pocket edition from a small publisher which stands for Daunt Books in London. Congratulations, Daunt Books, to this amazing edition of this book. This is so beautiful. I have read this. I'm going to talk with Srnti before I talk with you about this book. So that's the second one. The third one, I started a body read yesterday together with Rachel from Rachel is Reading, Mieko Kawakami, the next Japanese author, another Japanese female author. This is a book about bullying, And I'm not going to say any more because I'm discussing this with Rachel. So this is the third book that I have started last week, and that I will carry on with me into the next week. The second book that I'm going to start this week, maybe tonight with the first chapter, is Girl A by Abigail Dean, about a young girl who has been brought up with her sister in a horrible situation, and well, it's a thriller, and I don't know so much that happens in the book, but I will learn this. So this is Abigail Dean's book, Girl A. You are going to get, I'm talking about this pile here that stands on my right side, where my right arm is lingering upon now. And this pile is a nonfiction pile, because soon is Nonfiction November, and I want to give you the 10 best books to read in Nonfiction November, 10 books that I've read, 10 books that I own. So wait for that this week. You will also get the PTAC that was done by Jim at Jim's Books, Reading and Stuff. I want to continue recommending you the music that I listen to while I read. And this week I have 3 more CDs, 3 more albums to recommend here. And the first one is called Epic 10 by the American singer-songwriter Sharon van Etten. That is Epic 10. The second one is Chemtrails Over the Country Club by the great American icon Lana Del Rey. And the third one that I listened to and made me very happy this week with a couple of songs that I actually didn't know if he has sung, and I didn't know the songs as well, is an album called This Happy Madness, Estrada Branca. And these are songs of the Brazilian songwriter Antonio Carlos Jobim and sung by Frank Sinatra. Frank Sinatra sings songs of Antonio Carlos Jobim. This Happy Madness, very highly recommendable. I hit 600 subscribers today. Thank you so much for supporting me, for supporting this channel. I never thought that I would reach 600 subscribers. I never thought I would reach 200 subscribers, but now I'm at 600, and that makes me really, really happy. I'm not going to do a Q&A that, like many people do Q&As. My first Q&A, I would do this if I reach 750 ever in my life. We'll see. My friend Bolton Bankrupt, the guy who doesn't need any marketing, who does travel vlogs mostly from the former Soviet Union, he has published a new video. He has 3.17 million followers, subscribers on YouTube. But he does now a project that I would recommend to you as well. He's traveling on the Trans-Siberian Railway all the way to the Pacific from Moscow, and visiting places and towns and villages and meeting people that we're never ever going to meet when we watch just the normal TV channels. And I really, when I saw the last video, which is already in the Asian part of Russia, where I thought, oh my God, I want to be there. I want to do this trip as well. You know that I have a history in Russia. So that is everything that I have had to tell you for today. I hope that you have a great week, which is 44 in the United States, but 43 in Europe. Crazy, but it is that way. I learned it on Google. And so be happy, be safe, and see you again. Bye-bye.